Chargers fans, buckle up. The NFL market is on fire, and today we've got three huge stories coming out of Los Angeles. A surprise trade could bring in a game-changing defender, reinforcing a unit that desperately needs help. But that's not all. A potential free agency move could land an elite weapon for the offense, and the biggest shock of the day? A familiar face might be making a comeback, one that nobody saw coming. Are the Chargers finally making the right moves? Sit tight. Let's dive right into the action. If there's one thing we know about winning football in the NFL, it's that everything starts in the trenches. And the Chargers get that. After losing Poona Ford to the Rams and seeing both Tear Tart and Morgan Fox test the market, the team is in dire need of reinforcements on the defensive line. That's where a name like Arik Armstead suddenly makes a lot of sense. The 31-year-old veteran signed a massive 3-year, $5 million deal with the Jaguars in 2024, but it hasn't panned out. Just 2 sacks, 7 QB hits, and 3 tackles for loss. Not exactly dominant. Now Jacksonville is reportedly already regretting that investment, and they might be looking to move on. Enter an intriguing proposal from Matt Johnson at Sportsnaut. The Chargers could land Armstead in exchange for a 5th-round draft pick. Sounds like a bargain for a guy with his resume, right? But is it worth it? On one hand, absolutely. Armstead has proven to be a versatile defensive lineman who can play inside or out. Plus, he's got history with Jim Harbaugh, and we all know how much Harbaugh values players he trusts. Imagine a front seven featuring Khalil Mack, Tuli Tuipulotu, and Armstead. That's a nightmare for opposing quarterbacks. The issue? That contract. If the Jaguars don't agree to eat some of his salary, the Chargers would have to absorb a big cap hit, potentially limiting other moves in free agency. But with the cap space LA has, a little creative structuring could make it work. Then there's the question of whether Armstead still has enough left in the tank. His production in Jacksonville was underwhelming, but let's be real. He was stuck in a chaotic defensive scheme. Put him in a structured, Harbaugh-led system alongside proven veterans, and this could be a completely different story. So what do you think? Should the Chargers take the gamble and bring Armstead to LA? Would this be a steal or a waste of cap space? Drop your thoughts in the comments, because this move could shake things up in a big way. Now let's talk about another problem the Chargers can't afford to ignore, the offense. And let's be real, the wide receiver situation is looking rough. Mike Williams is gone. Keenan Allen, as much as we love him, isn't the dominant force he once was. And expecting rookie Ladd McConkey to be WR1 from day one, that's just not realistic, so who's stepping up? Well, here's where things get interesting, because the San Francisco 49ers might be open to moving Brandon Ayuk. That's right, the same Ayuk who racked up over 300 yards in 2023 and was a key piece in Brock Purdy's offense might be available. Why would the Niners do this? Money. They need to balance their cap, and they've already made some tough calls, trading Deebo Samuel and cutting key veterans. Now, with DeMarcus Robinson in the mix, Ayuk could be the next guy they look to move. And where do the Chargers fit in? Simple. They're one of the few teams with cap space and a glaring need for a true WR1. Plus, Harbaugh isn't the type to sit back and wait. He wants to build a contender now. But let's not kid ourselves. Landing Ayuk wouldn't be easy. He's got a strong market, and the Niners won't just give him away. Last year, they nearly struck a deal to send him to Cleveland, where the Browns reportedly offered Amari Cooper, a 2nd-round pick, and a 5th-rounder. So if the Chargers want him, they'd have to be willing to pay a premium. Is it worth it? Honestly, yes. If this team is serious about fixing the offense, Ayuk is exactly the kind of playmaker they need. He brings speed, separation, and explosiveness, all things this receiving core lacks. Picture this. Justin Herbert finally has a legit WR1, a guy who can stretch the field, dominate intermediate routes, and create space for McConkey to develop. That's the kind of move that changes an entire offense. And just when you thought things couldn't get any crazier, here's the biggest surprise of the day. One of the most beloved Chargers in recent history is coming back for one final run. Yes, you heard that right. Denzel Perryman, the linebacker known for his toughness and leadership, has re-signed with the Chargers on a 1-year, $65 million deal. And if you think this is just another depth signing, think again. This move carries major implications. Perryman was originally drafted by the Chargers back in 2015, back when they were still in San Diego. He quickly became a fan favorite for his hard-hitting style and relentless motor. His departure was felt both on and off the field, and even though he spent the last few years bouncing around the league, he never lost that Chargers mentality. Last season, he returned on a short-term deal, and despite playing just 11 games, still managed 55 tackles and was a key stabilizer for the defense. Now, with his new contract, he's not just a veteran presence, he's a leader on a unit that just lost key players like Poona Ford and Joey Bosa. And let's not overlook the emotional impact of this signing. With Bosa gone, Perryman is now the last remaining player from the San Diego Chargers era. He's the bridge between the franchise's past and its future. In a season where Harbaugh is trying to reestablish a winning culture, having a guy like Perryman in the locker room could make all the difference. So there you have it, Bolts fans. The potential addition of Arik Armstead could completely reshape the defense. A blockbuster move for Brandon Ayuk might finally unlock the offense. And Denzel Perryman's return? That's the kind of leadership and heart this team needs. What do you think? Are the Chargers making the right moves? Let me know in the comments, and if you want to stay on top of everything happening with our Bolts, make sure you're subscribed to the channel and have notifications turned on. Let's go, Bolts!